What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, December 9th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 1844 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you on the situation in Syria. Also, we have some major breaking news coming in from Taiwan and also from here in the United States. So earlier today, there were a lot of nuclear attack options broadcasted by U.S. nuclear forces, and we had several nuclear bombers airborne over the United States. We also had several nuclear war command and control planes airborne. So something is definitely spooking our nuclear forces. We are definitely on high alert. Also, a U.S. military VIP plane flew from Washington, D.C., from Camp Springs to Colorado Springs. And Colorado Springs has a doomsday bunker in Cheyenne Mountain. And also that's where NORAD is located. So some U.S. military VIP or possibly the vice president, the president himself, were moved to Colorado Springs to Cheyenne Mountain possibly, or NORAD headquarters. So that is very concerning, and this happened at the same time as all those nuclear attack options were being broadcasted, and also when all those nuclear bombers were airborne. Now what you're looking at here is a post from the Netherlands Ministry of Defense showing Dutch F-35s intercepting Russian fighter jets and a recon plane near Estonia in the Baltic Sea. Okay, so for those of you guys who are not aware, the Baltic countries don't have their own air force, so they rely on other NATO countries to patrol their airspace. So countries like Poland, the Netherlands, Norway, the UK, Germany, etc., they take turns patrolling the airspace of the Baltics. They rotate. And so these Netherlands F-35s intercepted Russian fighter jets and fighter bombers. This looks like a MiG-31K, which is a nuclear fighter bomber. Okay, it's a nuclear capable strike fighter. Here you can see the F-35. And then here you can see what appears to be some kind of a recon plane or potentially some kind of a close air support plane. And then here you can see the F-35. And then here's another fighter jet being intercepted by another Dutch F-35. So very serious situation in the Baltics. And Baba Vanga, she is a prophet from the Balkans, nicknamed the Nostradamus of the Balkans, warned that the fall of Syria would trigger a catastrophic global conflict. In her prophecy, Baba Vanga said, when Syria falls, there will be a great war between the West and the East. In the spring, a conflict will break out in the East that will lead to World War III, a war that will destroy the West. Wow. Okay, so Baba Vanga, she was from the Balkans. She predicted 9/11. She predicted the Ukraine war. She's saying that this coming spring, there's going to be a war between East and West, and that a conflict will break out in the East, maybe somewhere in Asia, and this will lead to World War III. So this is very, very concerning. And speaking of the East, Taiwan has raised its military readiness to the maximum level because of Chinese military exercises that are going to persist this week. And this is the third exercise this year that China has done around Taiwan. And a Taiwan security source told Reuters that China currently has nearly 90 Navy and Coast Guard ships in the waters near Taiwan, the southern Japanese islands, and the East and South China Seas. And the Chinese military has designated 7 airspace zones east of Zhejiang and Fujian provinces as reserved for these exercises. Okay, so the third exercise around Taiwan this year, and 90 warships around Taiwan. This is the most amount of Chinese warships that have been around Taiwan during any kind of exercises that they have done. Okay, so maybe Baba Vanga's prophecy is about to be fulfilled. Okay, Syria has collapsed. Now maybe China's going to make their move, and then soon Putin is going to make his moves. Maybe he's going to nuke Ukraine and invade the Baltics at the same time and close the Suwalki Gap. And I want to just show you guys some flight paths here. So this was the U.S. military or potentially some kind of government VIP that went from D.C. to Colorado Springs. That's where Cheyenne Mountain and NORAD are located. And here you can see 3 B-52 nuclear bombers that were airborne over Arkansas earlier this afternoon. And you can also see a combat scent plane that was flying over the upper Midwest. And the U.S. Air Force only has 2 of the combat scent planes. So if one of them is up in the air, it means that something serious is going on. Also, 2 nuclear war command and control planes were airborne as well. We also had some interesting activity off the coast of Great Britain, Scotland, and Ireland. There were 2 sub-hunters in the Irish Sea and off the coast of Scotland here earlier this afternoon. There was also a NATO AWACS plane patrolling northern Poland. And also there was Jake 17 last night, an RC-135 rivet joint that did a loop around Kaliningrad. So they're continuing to monitor that area of the world, okay? Northern Poland, the Baltics, Kaliningrad, the Baltic Sea. And a new flight restriction zone was introduced in the southern part of Belarus in addition to one that's already in force. Apparently this new flight restriction zone is valid from December the 8th through December the 20th, and it prohibits flights of all types of aircraft at altitudes from the ground to 20 kilometers, and this is represented in NOTAM 00781/24 and 00782/24. The restriction zone was introduced on the territory of Almani Swamps and on the territory of the entire Almani Swamps Landscape Reserve together with the Pripyatsky National Park. It affects the Stolin District, Lelchitsy, and Zhitkavichi districts in the south of Belarus. Previously, this area was also known as the former 41st Aviation Training Ground, where bomb throwing was practiced in the early 1960s, but the training ground was closed in 2005. Note that the designated area of the new restriction zone comes within the absolute prohibition zone, which has been in effect for more than 2 years and is constantly being extended. Thus, there couldn't be any flights in the designated area without the approval of the military anyway. So if you guys are not aware, all of southern Belarus bordering Ukraine has been under a prohibition zone as far as flights go. You cannot fly there, okay, if you're a Belarusian pilot. But now they've introduced a new restriction zone on the border of Ukraine, okay, not far from Zhytomyr and Kiev, okay. And in addition, the Lelchitsy District Executive Committee informed that starting tomorrow, December 10th, scheduled drills would be held on the territory of the district. A convoy of equipment of the Belarusian Armed Forces was spotted yesterday in Pinsk, which is adjacent to the new restriction zone. According to preliminary data, the equipment belongs to the 38th Brigade of the Special Operations Forces in Belarus. So something's brewing over here. And KLW World News is reporting that there are now even more trucks of the Russian military on the border of Poland and Lithuania. I spoke to him on the phone on Saturday, and he informed me that the number of unmarked semi-trucks on the border of Lithuania and Poland near the Suwalki Gap has now doubled. Okay, about a month ago, he reported like 350 of these white trucks with no markings just stacked up on the border of Poland and Lithuania. He's saying now that according to a source of his who has access to satellite data every single day. And KLW looked at these satellite photos, and he said over 700 trucks now. Okay, so that is very, very concerning. And also, he's saying, according to recent satellite imagery he looked at, that there's now over 200 S-400 missiles on the border of Poland, literally just 2 miles from the Polish border. Okay, so this is very, very concerning. You can check out his latest video on this on Rumble, on KLW News on Rumble, okay? And I want to update you guys on the situation in Syria. So the IDF said that a drone launched from Yemen struck a residential building in the southern Israeli city of Yavni this morning. There were no injuries in the attack, but damage was caused to several apartments. Israel is now planning some type of a major operation in Yemen in response to this incident and recent ballistic missile launches. And Israeli aircraft have been targeting the Al-Shairat air base in Syria today, south of Homs, one of the main air bases of the former Syrian Air Force, consisting of 2 runways and at least 40 hardened aircraft shelters. So Israel's taking full advantage of the situation, trying to destroy as many strategic targets as possible in Syria. They said they were going to go after Iranian bases and Iranian assets in Syria. Now they're going after Assad's air bases, and Israeli tanks have reportedly crossed the Quneitra countryside and are now on the outskirts of Damascus. Wow, so Israeli tanks now on the outskirts of Damascus. And Israel told the UN today that it is not intervening in the conflict in Syria, but stated that our actions are solely focused on safeguarding our security. And the Israeli Chief of Staff, Herzi Halevi, said yesterday that starting tonight, the main war front will move to Syria. We will start fighting on the Syrian front and will not allow anyone to reach our borders. Okay, so the main war front now, according to Israel, is Syria. And Norway, Belgium, Sweden, and Denmark have suspended consideration of asylum applications from Syrian refugees. And Russia will give a harsh response if its bases in Syria are attacked. This was reported by Interfax, who cited a Russian lawmaker. And NATO chief Mark Rutte said on Monday that Iran and Russia proved to be unreliable partners, abandoning Assad when he ceased to be of use to them. And the IDF released images from the Syrian side of Mount Hermon showing Israeli soldiers on the Syrian side of Mount Hermon. Wow. And the Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, has given the following tasks to the IDF in Syria: complete the takeover of the buffer zone in Syria and the controlled points, work to create a security zone free of heavy strategic weapons and terrorist infrastructure in the southern region beyond the buffer zone that could threaten the state of Israel, while establishing contact with the Druze population in the region and other populations. Work immediately to prevent and thwart the renewal of the weapons smuggling route from Iran to Lebanon through Syria. Continue to work to destroy heavy strategic weapons throughout Syria. Okay, so Israel is making big moves here in Syria. And Zelensky said Ukraine will consider the deployment of foreign troops to guarantee security. And the leader of Moldova's Transnistria signed a decree on a 30-day economic state of emergency due to the risk of Russian gas supply disruptions. And this is coming after Ukraine said they would not renew a Russian gas transit through Ukraine to Europe and also to Transnistria. So it looks like Transnistria is on the verge of collapse. And what you're looking at here is a U.S. Navy sub-hunter that was patrolling the coast of Syria earlier this afternoon. and we had multiple reconnaissance planes in South Korea. I want to remind you guys that Russia has set up a no-fly zone over the Kapustin Yar missile test site from December 10th through the 13th. So that's starting tomorrow. Actually, it's already the 10th in Russia. Okay, starting tomorrow through the rest of the week. So potentially Russia will be launching another ICBM at Ukraine. We know that Putin said that they could strike decision-making centers in Kiev. He also said that multiple Oreshnik ICBM strikes could occur and would have the same effect as a nuclear attack, even if they use conventional warheads, okay? But I'm very concerned that Putin is just going to nuke Ukraine, especially after he lost Syria. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be in the 24/7 stream tonight monitoring the situation, so I'll catch you guys over there. If not, I'll catch you on the next update, which will probably be tomorrow. Follow my Telegram and Twitter. I post all of my updates over there, and the links to my Telegram and Twitter are in the description below this video. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.